This is page 195, fourth grade. We are working with um, solving division problems today. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is division, how do we solve it, how do we find the answers to division. And there's a few trains of thought here. When we're talking division, we're talking about basically how many groups can we make of a larger number. We're going to start with number 1, and I'll explain what I mean. Kyle can fit 3 pencils in a pencil case. He has 42 pencils. So how many pencil cases does he need? So we have 42 pencils overall. He can only fit 3 pencils in a pencil case. Then he has to get another one. So clearly, this is going to be way more pencils than he can fit in a single pencil case. So another way to think about this is we need to take this 42 and divide it by 3. How many groups of 3 can we fit into 42? So first, with certain problems of lower numbers, it's possible to use this strategy called grouping. So grouping consists of literally drawing out 42, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 42 pencils or dots in this case, and splitting it into groups of 3. Now, as you can see me right now, this is a little bit tedious, even for a number like 42. It's kind of tiring to put all this work in each time. That should be 40, and then I need 2 more right here. So here's one way you can group, and what do we say? Every 3 pencils, that's what we can fit in a pencil case. So that means we could take 3 here. There's 1 pencil case. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pencil cases, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pencil cases, and can we fit a 14th? 1, 2, 3, that's perfect. And we can have a 14th pencil case. And this represents all the pencil cases we would need, 14 of them, to store 42 pencils. You might already be annoyed with this strategy, depending on how you feel about multiplication facts. I feel that. So let's talk about a second strategy, which is going to fit more closely to what we're doing on this journal page. And we're going to talk about thinking of multiples to see if that can help us get to our answer. You'll notice, in fact, that's what we'll be doing today. Fill in the lists of multiples if they help you. So another way to look at 42 divided by 3, which again, we're taking 42 pencils, splitting them into groups of 3 to find out how many pencil cases. If you want, you can go ahead, write down 42 divided by 3, so that helps you visualize. Another way to look at 42 divided by 3 is asking yourself, what times 3 equals 42? What can I multiply times 3 to equal 42? And what they've set up for you here on page 195 is kind of a multiples chart in a way. It looks different than what we're used to seeing, but all they're asking you to do is find some multiples of 3. So this first line is asking, how many pencil cases would you have if you had, how many pencils could you store if you had 5 groups of 3? And we know 5 groups of 3, 5, 10, 15. And this next line is asking, how about 6 groups of 3? 6 times 3 equals 7. And pretty soon you guys are going to notice a pattern. If you finish this first column, you'll notice we're going up by 3 every time. Not to mention, you guys are so sharp on your multiplication facts that you might just already know 8 times 3, 24. 9 times 3, 27. 10 times 3, 30. 33. And the reason they're having you go through all of these as I finish them up silently is so you can get a feel for how multiples work and how they can help us find an answer to a division problem. So if you take a step back and you look here, which one of these multiples do you think best fits our problem? 42 divided by 3. What times 3 equals 42? And you might notice right here, 14 times 3 equals 42. And where have we seen that 14 before? Bam. Okay, just like we did with the grouping. So they're kind of giving you the long way around to finding this answer. So 42 divided by 3, we found out that 14 groups of 3 will get us to 42. So that means we would need 14 pencil cases. And the number model with answer, all that really is just rewriting our number model with the unknown, or excuse me, number model, except instead of the unknown, you're going to put your actual answer. And remember, you can check your work, you can check your division work by taking your answer, 14, and multiplying him by the divisor. This is your divisor. So you can check your work either on a calculator or over here separately. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus 1 is 4. And you should get your dividend. This is your dividend as your answer. And this kind of checks the work and says, yep, nailed it. Okay? So I believe 195, the rest of this page will be kind of following the same strategy. They want you to write the multiples first. Even if you can solve it in your head, I'll give you a quick hint here, or a quick preview of number 2, and you have it in front of you so you can follow along. Renee is saving stamps in a book. She can place 5 stamps on a page. She has 80 stamps. How many pages does she need? Some of you might be able to do this right away. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, all the way up to 80 to find out how many times you can fit 5 into 80. That is an acceptable strategy. However, I would also still like you to fill out the multiples so you can get a feel for how we can find an answer using multiples. Okay, so again, we're looking at 80 stamps here, and you can only fit 5 on a page. So to find out how many pages, you're going to have to take that 80 and divide it by 5. Now, I was looking ahead to page 196. If you hang in there for a moment, I'm going to show you one other quick thing to keep in mind. You're going to notice they're going to transition away from story problems. And number 5 is just asking you straight up, how many 8s are there in 248? And that's where things are going to get a little more difficult, where you're not necessarily going to be able to do the 5, 10, 15. I'm sure we can do 8s for a while. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. But eventually, once we start getting past 80, it's going to get tough to keep on counting by 8s. And that's where they're going to have you use the multiples rule over here to try to work your way close to the answer. The only thing I'm going to tell you to keep in mind is our multiplication strategies here. So 8 times 30 looks pretty intimidating. However, if we use our familiar multiplication rule, if we can do 8 times 3, and what is 8 times 3? I can go 8, 16, 24. If we can do 8 times 3 equals 24, we know we just need to add a 0 to the end to find what 8 times 30 is. So that's a quick way to find the answer to a number times another number that has a 0. And you can even, I think I may have gotten us pretty close to the answer right away. You'll notice we're not too far off here. So 38 gets us to 240. So if you look, we might only need another 8 there to get to 248. So I may have accidentally slipped in and given you a big hint there, but I still would like you to fill out the rest of the multiple chart. So that's the long and short of lesson 6.3. We're just focusing on the idea of what division is and how do we find division answer. 42 divided by 3 can also be seen as how many 3s do we need to multiply by to get to 42. All right, guys.